What's going on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and today we're going to do a road trip up to the White Mountains. We're going to go through Globe, the Salt River Canyon, all the way up into Greer and Pinetop, then back down through Snowflake, and then Payson over the Mogollon Rim. And you guys are going to really love this, so let's get started. Now this here is Highway 60. This is the Salt River Canyon. You'll notice that you're on a Native American reservation here, so you can't really go off the road. But there are some tourist destinations out here that you'll want to explore. This beautiful Salt River Canyon. It's like a second Grand Canyon right here, because the mighty Salt River really is powerful. It's all that White Mountain snow melt that actually is part of the SRP, the Salt River Project. We visited here in October, so this is fall. Obviously, you visit here in the springtime, you're going to see a lot more water flowing, especially around May and June. But after a dry summer, this is what you're going to get. All right, so after about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive, you'll arrive in Show Low here. It's on the Mogollon Rim in Navajo County, sitting at 6,300 feet elevation, incorporated in 1953. The population here is around 12,000 people. Now, the name origin is quite unique. It's a result of a marathon poker match between Cordon E. Cooley and Marion Clark, and they were partners in a 100,000 acre ranch. And they decided to play 7-up poker. Whoever won would actually end up walking away with the property rights. They went at it for quite a long time. Clark said, hey, if you can show low, you will win. And Cooley, sure enough, he showed up with 2 deuces of clubs, and that was the lowest possible cards, and they said, show low it is, and that's where the name comes from, or at least as legend has it. And I've watched Show Low grow up over the years, and it's really becoming one of my favorite places to live out in Arizona. It does get cold winters and mild summers. It is 4 seasons out here, so if you're looking for a place to get a cabin to escape that Phoenix heat in the summers, really check out Show Low. If you're looking for something to do, stop here at Buffalo Bill's. They've got a museum and a tavern, but I would say people come up here for the world-class hunting, fishing, and camping. There are several lakes in the area, so it's quite an amazing place to hang out. It's like a national forest playground right here in Arizona in Show Low. Like I said, there are a few different areas, but one area you can check out is the Show Low Meadow here. They've got a trail. They've got lakes for fishing. Just remember, here in Arizona, if you're going to do some fishing, you need to have a license for that. Since Game and Fish will be out there doing some occasional checkups. You can see lots of livestock. This here is cattle roaming around the grassy meadow here. And here we are at Pinetop. Now, Pinetop is a little bit further into the White Mountains. Known as Pinetop Lakeside, it's got a population of 4,500 people. It was founded in 1984. Up here, you can hang out along the Rainbow Lake. Again, another place to do some fishing and outdoor activities on the lake. True paradise in the summertime here in Arizona. But in the winter, if you're looking for a white Christmas, I would say Pinetop Lakeside might just be the best place to get a cabin because you'll get a white Christmas up here, I'd say 8 times out of 10. As you can see, driving around the neighborhoods up here in Pinetop Lakeside, really a beautiful place. I think a lot of people don't know about it down in Phoenix, but they're starting to get aware of it. But if you haven't been up there, I would suggest coming on up here. There's a lot to do, whether you're in the fall months like we're in now or winter and summer. So a nice place out here with a lot of serenity in the forest, plenty of wildlife. You'll see goose, you'll see elk, also some black bears up here. Remember, they don't have any grizzlies or any moose, but those elk, you will hear those out in the distance. And here we are at the Hon-Dah Casino. Since we're on the reservation, they've also got an RV park here, but really a nice lodge kind of area. This is the res, so be careful where you go off the highways, because on the reservation you need to be respectful of the tribal lands, and getting off the beaten path might not be authorized for most people who are not a part of the reservation or the tribe. Here we are now at Hawley Lake, so another beautiful lake up here in the White Mountains. You'll notice many lakes up here. Really a great place for those of you who like to be out on the water, camping or what have you. And you can see, because it's fall, look at those autumn colors on those aspen trees. That's why people come up here in the fall, just to see the aspens. You also get those in Flagstaff. By the way, if you guys really love these road trips and you want more, let us know in the comments where you want us to go, what you want us to film, and then we'll take that into consideration because we love hearing from you guys about what you want to see in terms of getting around Arizona. But here at Hawley Lake, you could see getting out there on that water, always a good time, whether it's hot or maybe even in the winter months when it's snowing. And let me tell you why you come up to the White Mountains during the winter time. Well, they have a ski resort up here on Mount Baldy. This here is the Sunrise Ski Resort. I've come up here in the winter time and it looks like a great time for people who like to snowboard or do some skiing. Again, Mount Baldy is the second tallest mountain in Arizona, sitting at an elevation of around 11,400 feet. Now, you know why they call it the White Mountains, because it gets snow packed up here. But Mount Baldy is called that because up top there's not much vegetation. Now, some interesting facts about Mount Baldy: it actually produces the headwaters for the Little Colorado and the Salt River. Also, it has the most rivers, lakes, and streams of any other place in Arizona, or at least it creates the most rivers, lakes, and streams. They also reintroduced the Mexican gray wolf, so you may see some of those up here because they were extinct in the region, and now they're making a comeback. For those of you who are aware of the jaguar that's kind of been hanging out down in southern Arizona, it's cool to see this wildlife making a comeback, isn't it? But now we're headed out to Greer. Greer has become one of the most famous places up here in the White Mountains. People like the small, laid-back atmosphere. A great place to go if you're looking to do some hiking or exploring. Not too much else going on up here. You might stop into one of the cafes, but it's just a beautiful place to hang out. It did get burned by the Rodeo Chedesky fire a few years ago, and it hasn't quite recovered. But Mother Nature is resilient and has started to rebuild the forest out here, which is a beautiful thing to see. Also, back in 1970, they had the Labor Day floods, for those of you who want to look that up. They say we don't get much heavy flooding in Arizona, but that was one heck of a flood when all that snowpack started to melt and just flooded a lot of the area around the White Mountains. And as you can see driving around here, it is just a beautiful time of year to be up in the White Mountains. You got blue skies with the scattered clouds, not too much rain in sight, but it's coming. By the time November, December rolls around, you can expect lots of snowpack coming and going. But from here, we're going to head out to Eager. This is out there towards the New Mexico border. You have Eager and Springerville. Those are the two areas. Interesting fact is my uncle used to live out here. So I know Springerville and Eager really good because we used to come here all the time when we were kids. And what I remember about it is it gets really cold at least 6 months out of the year. Even when it's not snowing, the wind out here is really cold. Spring, after about April 15th, starts to warm up a bit. It's quite nice. And then mild summers. But it hasn't really changed over the last 20 to 30 years, that's for sure. I mean, you can see driving around here, it's still got the old buildings, and it definitely hasn't undergone any sort of urban growth or development. They do have a really cool Springerville dome for sports and gymnastics and stuff indoors. But other than that, maybe a Walmart, a Home Depot, a Lowe's, but not too much else going on out here in terms of commerce. But it's a laid-back place, and people who live up here, they like it that way. And based on some of the feedback we've gotten on this channel, some of you actually like it that way as well, since our most popular videos are always the small towns in Arizona videos. We can definitely make more of those, more modern ones with up-to-date footage and stuff. So if you guys want that, let us know in the comments. Also, thank you to all of our subscribers as we continue to show you around the White Mountains and beyond. Here we are in Springerville, just driving around. Now, for those of you who do not know, Arizona is known for the volcanic fields or volcanic areas. You'll see it outside Sunset Crater in Flagstaff, but out here in Springerville, this is a very volcanic area and not much vegetation out here. They say it's extinct or dormant. We don't know exactly, but the scientists claim it's not really a threat. Who knows, though? They haven't had any earthquakes out here to let us know any sort of seismic activities on the radar, so that's a good thing. But that's what you can expect to see out here. The property is actually very cheap. If you're looking for some cheap property, you can find that all around here. And even if you go north towards St. John's. But where we're actually headed is towards Snowflake. So we'll check out some more of these towns as we continue cruising around. But being that we're out here north on Highway 77, this here is Shumway. and you can see lots of livestock. So you can get livestock out here, grass-fed. You can order it from some of these ranches, and then they'll deliver it to your house, and that's some real grass-fed beef. You're not going to get that in most grocery stores down in Phoenix. So if you're one who likes beef, definitely consider talking to some of the ranches up here around the White Mountains, Springerville, and the surrounding areas. And another nice small town here is Taylor. So you can see you've got Shumway, Taylor, and then if you go a little further north, you've got Snowflake. This is actually home to many people who are part of the LDS. So this is what you would consider the area for Latter-day Saints. Typically they're people who come from Utah, or are also known as Mormons. But really a nice area, very peaceful, safe, and quite pristine, sitting up here on the plateau. And here we are now in Snowflake, still in Navajo County. It was founded in 1878 by William Jordan Flake, some of the Mormon pioneers. And Snowflake is about 25 miles south of Route 66. Now, there is around 5,000 people living here. Your lifestyle preferences, you may consider moving up here, although growth is not expected to continue at a high rate, so that's a good thing. Now, if you're looking for the climate up here, it is a semi-arid climate. It does have 4 seasons as well, even though it's a lot less vegetation out here. They've got sometimes hot summers, mild autumn, and then cold winters. Very cold with wind, and same with windy spring. And as you can see going around up here, it's really hard to complain about the scenery because it's really laid back and beautiful. It doesn't get any better than that, does it? Now we're headed towards Heber-Overgaard. This is going to be closer towards Payson, but we're still quite a far away. This is on the Mogollon Rim. Heber-Overgaard is a nice place to go. It's definitely got some prospects for growth in the future. They've got a lot of property for sale here. It could happen at any time where this place starts to take off, but Heber-Overgaard right now is a place where you can get some pretty cheap land. Just go online and search Heber-Overgaard, but you can see it's got some smaller pine trees, but a bit more vegetation than Snowflake. It's going to also have the same kind of temperature or weather that you get in places like Show Low or Pinetop Lakeside with 4 seasons. Now, last time I was up in the Mogollon Rim area, there was a small town that really caught my attention in between Payson and Heber-Overgaard. It's called Forest Lakes. If you guys get a chance, go look around over there. You may find a cabin you want to rent or stay at, or who knows what you could possibly want to do up in Forest Lakes. I really like it up here, and I would suggest most of you considering exploring around here. We don't want to make it too famous because the locals like it kind of quiet, but if you're one of those types of people who also like it quiet, you might just fit in up here in Forest Lakes. It's definitely a up-and-coming place to be up here on the Mogollon Rim. It actually began as a mining operation in 1939 as they were mining for manganese, and there was a heavy demand for that metal, and then they turned into logging up here, and since then it's kind of turned into a laid-back little area around the Ponderosa Forest here. And I would say if there was one downside or something you should pay attention to would be wildfires, because wildfires have been known to really wreak havoc in this area of the White Mountains in these small towns. If you guys enjoyed this one, we'll see you guys on the next one. You can also watch our Best Things to Do in Arizona guide or Best Road Trips in Arizona. See you on the next one.